And I was getting out of the house this morning before I got here, and talked to the president about substance. So I may not be up to speed on all of them.
Counselor to the president, Kellyanne Conway, there on her way into work defending President Trump's mental fitness. Those questions coming after her husband, George Conway, a frequent Trump critic on Twitter, suggested the president was suffering from a personality disorder. Joining us now, Washington Post feature reporter Ben Terrace, who spent some time with Kellyanne and George Conway last August and wrote an article about their politically complicated marriage, one that is certainly getting renewed interest this morning after the back and forth that we've seen online. Ben, good to have you with us.
Thanks for having me.
You wrote at the time that they love each other, are exasperated by each other, talk about each other behind each other's backs. They share a roof and live in different bunkers. The story of any marriage, but one that is in many ways emblematic of our national predicament, particularly on the right. Do you think they're still in the same place today, 6 or so months later, as they were back in August when you sat down with them?
That's a good question. I mean, I think they're basically in the same place, but maybe slightly worse. I mean, George Conway has been tweeting more, and he's getting more followers, so every time he tweets, it's a bigger deal, and he's saying kind of more explosive things. So whether they're in the same exact place is hard to say, but the same problems are definitely there.
You talk about that he's tweeting more. Back when you spoke with him, he called it an outlet for himself, that it was really just a small part of his life, and he thinks he's holding back a little. Do you think he's still holding back?
Yeah, to a degree, right? I mean, so he tweets a lot, but each tweet only takes a couple seconds to fire out. He could easily be, sitting in this chair where I am right now instead of me talking about this. He could be on morning shows. He could be doing evening television, on podcasts, on the radio, and he really doesn't do that. He pretty much keeps all of his criticism to Twitter and the occasional op-ed. And I think that's what he means by it's his outlet. If he didn't have at least some way to express how he feels, I think he'd go a little bit crazy. And he definitely could do more, but Twitter is his mode that he's chosen so far.
He's grown his followers exponentially in the last few months, if we have seen, from 90,000 to now nearly 400,000. Was it your sense that this is all genuine, what we're hearing from George Conway on Twitter?
Yeah, it's my sense that he truly believes this. Whether it's a deal that he and Kellyanne have worked out where he's able to do this, people have made that guess, but I don't think that's true. I really get the sense that she is annoyed by his Twitter habits and that he just kind of can't help himself. They figured out a way to at least make it work for now, so I don't know exactly what all the conversations have been like since I've spent time with them, but I do think he truly believes all this stuff. He does seem very exasperated by the president when you talk to him.
Did there seem to be a bar at all, though? Was there a point, did you get the sense that there was a point at which point Kellyanne would say, you know what, George, enough is enough. Just cut it out?
I mean, I think she says that to him, and I think he just kind of can't help himself. I think that they've, at least at some points, they've agreed to a sort of detente where they just don't talk about this stuff. They got other things they have to worry about. They have, they each have jobs, they have children to raise, they have lives to live, and I think they basically realize they can't talk about this all the time, otherwise it will be literally the only thing they ever talk about.
In response to George Conway's tweet, we actually heard from Brad Parscale, of course, from the 2020 campaign, who posted a tweet which at the end said that George Conway is only doing this because he is jealous of her success, in reference to Kellyanne Conway. And she's noted in the past, people know who George Conway is because of me. It is not the other way around. Do you buy that, the jealousy angle?
Well, I don't think he's jealous of her success necessarily. He is very proud of her. He says that even when I was spending time with him and he hated the president, he still would talk about how proud he was of his wife. He said, look, I don't think the president deserves her. She's so talented. She's so great. His anger, he says, is with the president and not with Kellyanne. And I think he truly is proud of her and her abilities. So I'm not sure that he is as angry with her as he is with the president.
Could George Conway's tweets in some way help Kellyanne Conway in terms of proving her loyalty to the president?
I think there's something to be said about that. I mean, when my story came out, there was a lot of discussion about how she had almost seemed to take the side of the president over the side of her own husband. And if you're the president of the United States and you read that article, I'm not sure he read it, but if he at least saw the coverage of it, he would probably see, oh, look, Kellyanne is so loyal to me that she's willing to go to the pages of the Washington Post and stand up for me over the words of her own husband. So perhaps that is valuable in the White House. Spouses
disagree on all kinds of things all the time. They disagree on politics all the time, perhaps not always as publicly. But if you look back at, let's say, Mary Matlin and James Carville, you look at disagreements there. Is it different, you think, because things are so turbocharged in this Trump era, or is this simply different because these are the Conways?
I think it's different in a number of ways. I mean, Mary Matlin and James Carville, they're opposite parties, so they their roles made perfect sense. George Conway was a supporter of the president for a long time. He almost worked in the administration. He cried on the night of the election. He was so proud of his wife and so happy about the election. this disagreement is different. He is a conservative who's disagreeing with the president, not just somebody who is standing on solid ground arguing either Democratic or Republican principles.
Ben Terris, good to have you with us this morning. Thank you.